Ridley here for the Win-Win Party, and the Win-Win Party has written up some ideas that I want to share with you.
Good. Fire, native.
Quote, "The main problem in society is conflict among various interest groups. There is a solution to this problem. It requires only a slight change in attitude from a win-lose attitude, which means the attitude that if one group wins, another group must lose. That attitude is demonstrably false. The attitude that solves our problems is win-win, which means that we can nearly always find solutions that satisfy both sides' concerns on any issue. In this short video, we'll try to demonstrate the win-win process. Then each week, we'll try to show you how win-win can be used to find unanimously agreeable solutions to some serious conflicts, like between pro-war and anti-war groups, between libertarians and agorists, however you say it, between liberals and conservatives, and so on. Each week, we'll try to resolve a different conflict. We'll also show you how to start a win-win chapter in your area and teach local candidates how to get elected using win-win solutions, and how to improve government with win-win solutions when elected. We will also show you how to start a win-win chapter in your area to teach local candidates how to get elected using win-win solutions, and how to improve government with win-win solutions when elected. The main obstacles to win-win may be unwillingness to acknowledge each other's legitimate concerns. Impatience is a problem, and unwillingness to discuss opposing views. That's also a problem. Let's start with someone mentioning a political issue that has opposing views. Unquote. Now, for example, there are people that say they want to have the right to put whatever they want in their body. And on the opposing side, you've got people who say, well, if you have that right, if you're allowed to do that, you're going to abuse it. You're going to put drugs in your body that make you a threat to others. Now, to come up with a win-win solution between those two sides, ideally you'd want a mediator. You wouldn't want me necessarily being the one coming up with the solution, because I got a dog in that fight. I favor the right to put what you want in your body. But if it were me trying to come up with a win-win solution, I wouldn't just regurgitate my position. I would maybe throw out the idea of the government doing what the government is doing in some cases, and that is legalizing these drugs in many cases, but taxing them. So you tax them and regulate them, treat them like alcohol, basically. That way the government's getting some revenue out of this process of people buying and using these drugs. And also the people who buy and use them are not being thrown in jail, so they win, and they win their freedom. The government wins its revenue. Not an ideal solution, but it is a win-win. A mediator could probably do better, though. Quote, "Win-win could be considered a new name for a process that has a long history, although the win-win concept has improved that process. Processes that are similar to win-win are unanimous rule, consensus decision-making, sociocracy, and so on. The Bible favors this process, which is described in the online book The Bible is Libertarian at bilib.webs.com. The U.S. was founded on unanimous rule in the Articles of Confederation, which were enforced during the Revolutionary War until the Constitution replaced it. The Constitution also required unanimous support before it was adopted. The Quakers used consensus, and they used it for 75 years when they ruled Pennsylvania. Native American tribes used to use consensus as well. Win-win unifies people instead of dividing them against each other. George Washington was concerned about political parties dividing the people into conflicting sides. He was afraid the divisiveness would jeopardize the nation's freedom and security. He talked about that in his farewell address in 1797. The Win-Win Party thinks it's time for the U.S. to heed Washington's warning, heal our wounds, and get on with letting the people become free and prosperous again. Unquote. Again, that's a quote from the Win-Win Party.